Speaking of things I did not love, let's
Yes,
talk
sir.
about Roadhouse. Doug Liman, who directed Swingers and Go back in the 90s, directed The Incredible Edge of Tomorrow, one of the best action movies of the last 20 years, directed the first Bourne movie. He remade Patrick Swayze's Roadhouse, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and others. I watched this as soon as it came out, and I've been sort of following the discourse ever since. Everyone more or less agrees that Roadhouse is bad, but there has been a lot of discussion about what kind of bad it is, and a lot of people are kind of falling on the side of it's so bad it's good. And I think from what I've seen, some people are even calling it camp. I am here today to beg people to not misuse the word camp, okay? We need to talk about camp because we are in danger of losing the meaning of the word, and it's one of our most important words, okay? It's a very important word with a very specific, I won't say very specific, but with a meaning. It has meaning, and it needs to retain that meaning. The new Roadhouse is not camp, it's just a bad movie. Also, that Nicole Kidman AMC promo is not camp. It's just a run-of-the-mill, magic of the movies commercial. And I get it, though, okay? Because camp is fun. Camp makes us feel good. We love camp. But just because we love it and we want it, it doesn't mean everything is it. So when the next Nicole Kidman AMC commercial rolls around, whatever the next thing of that is going to be, I need you to ask yourself, is this actually camp? Or am I just kind of sad and I need camp in my life? And it's fine to be sad. I'm sad a lot of the time. A lot of people are sad a lot of the time now.
Here we go.
There's a lot of things to be sad about. And camp makes us feel better. And camp is so exciting and exhilarating and weird. And so I get it. We want camp, but we have to be careful with what we call camp. Because if we call everything camp, then nothing's camp. And we don't get any camp in our lives anymore. It's precisely because we love camp that we need to maintain the definition of it. So why is Doug Liman's Roadhouse definitely not camp? Well, first of all, it's Doug Liman's Roadhouse. It was never going to be camp. But I want to start with one isolated element of the movie that arguably is campy. The closest the movie gets to camp, and that's Conor McGregor's performance. You will not see a weirder thing on movie screens in 2024 than Conor McGregor's performance in Roadhouse. The former UFC fighter, Conor McGregor, who by all accounts seems to be a pretty bad and violent person, surprise, surprise, gives a confounding performance in Roadhouse. And it is a performance. He is performing. He is doing acting. He is acting hard. He walks around like an absolute maniac. His line readings are exaggerated. They're cartoonish. It seems half the time like he's doing VO for a cartoon is kind of the only way I can describe it. A lot of the dialogue had to be ADR'd, which makes you kind of wonder what was going on during the actual filming of the movie. A bunch of the lines you're like, what was that? Could not possibly have been what was in the script. And so you're like, why did they use, like, that doesn't make any sense. Was it just like take 50 and Doug's tired and needs to go home? And so they were just like, just use that one. Margo, can you play that one clip to give the people an example of what I'm talking about? This is Conor McGregor in Roadhouse.
Just what I taught. This Roadhouse is mine.
So that's a scene where Conor McGregor has just walked into the Roadhouse and he's supposed to like tear it up and fight people and just get real rowdy. And he walks in and he looks around and he goes, just what I taught. This Roadhouse is mine. A line that it's the kind of line where it seems like it makes sense. It's words in a sentence, but the more you think about it, just what I thought, this Roadhouse is mine, is such a weird, meaningless kind of sentence that it is so close to meaning something, but also so far away. And the delivery of it is so bizarre that Conor McGregor kind of is getting close to camp, because it's the kind of camp where the intention and the and the result are so far away. What he's trying to do versus where it lands are so far away. And in the difference between those two things is where the camp comes out of it. It's a performance that's reminiscent of those great performances from like trashy action movies in the 80s where they would get like wrestlers and bodybuilders and boxers to play the bad guys. And they kind of weren't used to being on camera in movies, and so everything was sort of exaggerated and sort of vulnerable and kind of weird and like didn't always match everybody else's energy. It's that kind of a performance, and honestly, I kind of have been waiting for a performance like that for a long time, because you don't get them anymore, because everybody now has grown up on those trashy action movies from the 80s, and so they have a sort of like ironic understanding of that kind of performance, and you can't give that kind of performance if you're ironically winking at the camera. Conor McGregor is not ironically winking at the camera in this movie. In fact, I don't think he knows where the camera is half the time. He walks around with his shoulders out, and he has this weird smile on his face, but he has like dead eyes. It's a truly bizarre performance.
Does he order his whiskey? The Irish, 12 Irish?
He doesn't, but
okay.
See, I think he was in this movie to continue the brand, right?
Okay.
He thinks like, because the irony is that when he was in UFC, he was known for being sort of this charismatic wordsmith that was very good on camera. He was one of the main personalities of UFC, and that's why he became so big. In addition to winning some big fights, was that he was so good at trash talking and all of the show around mixed martial arts.
Like Mean Cena.
And then he does the Irish whiskey, and so he has this whole brand. He's this sort of rowdy Irish brawler, and he comes into this movie trying to do the Conor McGregor brand, and then was presumably going to use this movie as kind of keeping the brand going. But something happens when they turn that camera on, maybe, and Conor McGregor just kind of is just sort of like frozen in this weird cartoonish version of himself the entire movie, and I don't think he knows what he looks like or sounds like. It's like everything is sort of, I don't think he knows how he's coming off. And it ends up being this truly bizarre performance that is sort of close to campy, but the rest of the movie is nothing like his performance. The rest of the movie is just sort of boring and careless. The comedy is flat. There's these long passages of exposition that are unnecessary. Gyllenhaal is trying, but his character makes no sense.
Bummer.
And overall, like, Billy Magnuson is in it. If you don't know who that is, look him up. You'll know the face.
Yep.
He's a character who's been giving these sort of manic gonzo performances that have become, I think, really popular and beloved. And he's trying in this movie, but he's like weirdly kind of muted. It's like, why aren't they letting Billy Magnuson go full bore? I don't fully get it. The violence in the movie is bizarre. Jake Gyllenhaal gets stabbed fatally twice, and then they just sort of forget that it happens, and then he just like comes back. Like it's the Roadhouse is like not right. It's like not the design of it is not right. It's like a tourist bar in the Keys, but they're doing the Roadhouse thing where people are fighting there all the time. It'd be like if you walk into Margaritaville at City Walk and there was like an 8-person brawl going on.
I wouldn't be shocked, but yeah, at that specific location.
Fair enough, but you would be shocked if you then like said to the bartender, "Oh my God, what's happening?" And the bartender's like, "This happens every night."
Yes.
You'd be like, "It does in Margaritaville?" It's a bad, careless movie that didn't really care about itself a lot. The one bright spot is Conor McGregor's bizarre performance, but ultimately that's just sort of this isolated island of near camp, and overall the movie is not so bad it's good. It's just bad. It is not camp. Everybody, let's wake up and let's wake up and smell the roses on camp and not use the word unless it actually is camp, because God, it is truly one of our most important words, and then we need to preserve its definition. Also, no throat ripping.
What?
No throat ripping.
Zilch.
If you remember the original Roadhouse, Patrick Swayze famously can rip people's throats out and does it at the climax of the movie. It's amazing. No throat ripping in the Roadhouse remake.
MacGruber took throat ripping.